What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 16th episode of the Envision Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Brad's Gaming, and as always, I am joined by Clownish Joe
Hello, everyone.
and Triple Bravo.
Howdy, folks.
So, I had a little bit of uh, just something that went through my head when I've been playing Borderlands. So, I've been putting some time in, and I have this problem, and this is why I can't really play. I feel like these big open worlds, such as like The Witcher. My problem is I cannot move on story mission until I finish all the side quests in the area or whatever is available in the game. Then I do the next the main quest. And then once I do that one main quest, all side missions again open up even more, it seems like. So I think I have a problem. But I don't know, what is your opinion on side quests? I feel like sometimes there's like too much and I feel overwhelmed by them, and it makes me then stop playing because I don't feel like I'm progressing in the game as much. Because a lot of times it's usually like some like fetch quest of like, oh, go over here and pick up this item.
Yeah, I feel where you're coming from in that, and I think so. Whenever play games, I always start out by doing all the side quests, and then there gets a point where like I'm doing the side quests, and I realize I'm like exceeding through the main story a little bit easier than I'd like to. So then I just focus main story up into a point where it starts to like get a difficulty curve again because I'm getting over leveled and balancing back out, and then I do side quests again and catch back up.
Hmm.
And I just rinse and repeat, and then eventually I get like to a point where I'm ready to just like finish the game, and I'll just only play mainline quests. And then after I beat it, if I'm like, all right, we'll go back and clean up the scraps I left, or if I'm done with the game, I just put it away and call it.
My approach to side quests are fluid, right? I like to just kind of naturally come across the side quests. I don't like the WoW style quests that just seem like go get 12 chickens and then go do this thing and then go do this thing. Like, I don't like that. But, for example, ESO, you you following the main story, and while you're running to your next location or to go fight a big bad guy, you'll come across a person like waving you down. They're next to a broken cart, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm just passing through, what's up? And they're like, in this same area, somebody's missing that I care about, could you find them for me? And you can like go do multiple side quests in the same area, like on the same direction, sort of the same path. And then whenever you go to turn all those back in, you just kind of like you hit a bunch of places up at once. That's my preferred side quest because it feels like you're just coming across these things naturally, right? Like random NPC lost their dog or whatever. That those are more interesting to me. Whenever if I'm focusing on level, like what Joe said, I don't really like that. I would just prefer to go for the story than or for the experience than like try to gear up or whatever.
Yeah, so like my problem with just Borderlands from what I've been playing is the game actually it's actually relatively difficult. Like it's not super easy, like where you could just go straight through the main line. It seems like you kind of have to do some side quests just to level up enough to get to that point. And I don't know, because of that intro, it seems like I'm always just kind of forcing myself to continuously do all of them.
I will say, to give a counterpoint to my own statement, is if it's like canonical, like in Borderlands, you have to go fight a big bad, and he's like in this fortification, right? And you in the game, you're like, I'm not strong enough. I don't have the strong enough weapon. I don't have the gear to do this. And then you have to go do side quests. That's kind of like maybe like a gray area for me, because it's like, okay, I'm like, it's part of the story that I need to go out and get stronger. And I'm not like going out of my way to do these side quests. They're kind of like sort of a part of it, but they're not the main story.
I think too, if there's a good side story that goes along with it, it helps a lot more because in Borderlands, the story of it is I'm not really taking it in too much, but it just seems like, oh hey, go kill this one thing, and I'll give you a reward.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all it is. It's not like there's some deep plot analysis or anything like that.
Listen, I'm a millennial. I have attention deficit problems. You have to keep me engaged. If the story's not good enough, if it's not pretty enough, if it's not flashy enough, I need more loot boxes in my life. I need more glitter, just in general. Actually, just more glitter all the time, just falling from the sky. But yeah, keep me entertained, doggone it.
I don't think I've ever heard somebody say they need more loot boxes in gaming nowadays.
I need more pay to win.
Could you imagine some developers like, we've added more loot boxes, exactly what you've asked for. It's like, oh.
If there's any more loot boxes in games, it would literally just become
the slots.
A loot box simulator.
Just as...
That's not it. But I guess moving on with talking about Borderlands and the side quest, it kind of falls a little bit into what our main topic of the day is going to be, which is actually all on Diablo 2, which is big on loot. So this kind of goes well because we realize we release on Thursdays and the game releases on a Thursday too. So this will be coming out the day Diablo 2 releases. And why not? We'll discuss a lot about it, a whole bunch of different things. We'll see how deep we end up getting into it, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are and like what is making you so excited about like the release. Why we're even having, I guess, an episode specifically on this.
You, Brad, 100% you, brother.
Repeat.
You have been so excited about this game, it's gotten me excited about it. Okay, so there's that like main point right there. You know, feeding off your excitement, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to have another game where I can like grind away with my friends because it's not normal to to have this. We play games that don't really have that, and. It's been a few years since I played a Diablo-style game with some buddies. I played D3 with two friends, and two other friends, which I've replaced with you two. So congratulations. But yeah, it's time to get back to that grind and have some fun with it. And I've never played Diablo 2. I've played through the first act during the beta just to kind of get my hands dirty. But yeah, super excited to get in there. I'm going to be playing a doggone werewolf. It's going to be amazing.
And I'm excited to have you
hate the game.
Have this realization that Diablo 3 is in my opinion, it is a much worse game than Diablo 2.
And Diablo 2 is a much worse game than
Diablo 1.
The derivatives of each other.
And Diablo is a much worse game than whatever that one you were just playing is, Torchlight 3.
As a side quest, I will be comparing Grim Dawn to Diablo 2 whenever I get enough experience in both.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I mean, they're similar enough. But how about you, Joe?
Yeah, so pretty much same thing as Bravo. Like, I'm excited about the game because you're so excited about it, and I'd pretty much be in the same boat. Even if it was like Bravo's favorite game is getting remastered, and he's all happy and wants us to play with him. But Diablo 2, like, it's a game I never played, and I really enjoyed the first Diablo, and I only played through the story of Diablo 3. Like, I never even knew there was endgame content to it until like years after it came out. And then I just didn't care. So
you're not alone.
That's that. So it was fun whenever I played through it. I played it on console, Diablo 3, and have it on PC. But it was just a fun little game to grind through. I'm more excited for this one to have like that. I don't have a game right now that I could just like sit down and mindlessly play. Everything I play is either competitive or involves a lot of strategy and all that. And then there's just this game. It's like run into a cave and fight, and it's like, okay,
that's interesting because you were mindlessly playing League last night. I could have sworn. Oh.
Was that you that was riding my back on that first game?
So Brad, loaded question. Why are you excited about Diablo 2?
Yeah. So, I'm sure they've described the excitement that I have for the game being it is my favorite game of all time. I I could have hardcore rose-tinted glasses for this game being that I've been playing it since I was about 10 and it it to me just has everything that I really want in a game. It's deep enough to where I feel like I can min max builds and I can trial a ton of different like skills and gear everything. But it also is simple enough to like Joe, where you can go and mindlessly be like, you know what, today I'm just gonna grind and try to find some loot from this one specific boss, right?
It also
Or
helps that I know nothing about the builds, not doing any research, going in as blind as can be.
Yes.
no, and that so it's funny. I have this much time into the game, right? I've literally been playing it for 20 years now, which is absolutely insane to think about. But the thing is that I've had some really hardcore moments in my life where I played it and downtime and whatnot. But there are some builds still out there that I have not tried, which is what I think amazes me. Like if you want, you can go and be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna try this. They are not the most optimized. Everybody's tried the cookie cutter builds and stuff like that. But my viewpoint of the game has changed so much drastically now that I've gotten older that I don't want to do the stereotypical like hammered in or blizz sorceress and whatnot because that's like if you go onto the Diablo 2 subreddit right now, everybody's posting like, what do you plan on running for day one and this and that or whatever, and every single person says the same thing: hammered in, blizz sorceress. Those are like, oh, I want to have a magic find, I'm running fireball and then I spec into blizzard. That's what everybody does, because sorceress is the most broken class in the beginning of a game because you get teleport without needing anything else. You just obtain teleport. And then the hammered in is pretty much the strongest, like, and I guess you could say most well-rounded class when you get the higher end gear, like an Enigma, which gives you the ability to teleport. So I don't know. I think it's weird that everybody pushes to it, but then again, I'm a person where I like to play the most obscure and
Now, is this
out of left field.
are these guys the inner circle of Diablo 2 who are like the speed runners and the crazy guys just trying to get to the very very end game and they're like, "Oh, you have to play these two kind of characters."
You know what it is to me? It's the people that they enjoy the game, but they don't at the same like. And I fall into this category too a bit. Like I've just started it recently. They fell in the category where they don't care about the early game because all you care about is late game builds, which is similar to Diablo 3, right? Where most people don't care about 1 to 70 because none of the gear matters. Because once you get that level 70 gear, that's where you'll have the stats and whatnot, right? Like everything just trumps itself. So, long story short, everybody cares about the high end gear rather than the stuff on the way to it. And like I'm excited to like just us three, self found. We're not gonna like trade with other people and whatnot. And we just gotta roll with what we get, you know?
I'm gonna get all the best loot because I'm playing the game on hard mode.
Same.
Brad keeps yelling at me because I want to play a pew pew character, and he kept telling me it's hard. You're gonna be bored. It's gonna be too hard. You're not gonna have fun.
I didn't
Perfect rendition.
that you made a bad choice. I'm saying you made a tough choice. That's all
What's
I'm
the
saying.
toughest choice? Do I need to go punch barb? Is that what I need to do?
Punch bar would probably be the toughest, but yeah,
I'm about to go punch Amazon.
Oh.
yeah, that would be tough too. I mean, there basically what it comes down to is if you play a melee character, the game is much harder than a spellcaster. That's all it is, and that's just because, and it's actually
I'm not
partially,
either of them.
well, technically a physical attacker. So an Amazon is on that level. And actually, part of the reason is because the bows in the game just for some I don't know why the bows just don't seem to be that great.
Well, you're
There are good bows, but there's a lot more bad bows than good bows. That's the only thing.
So let's go around real quick. What is the game plan for classes? So I'm gonna go werewolf. I've already said that. That's gonna be my whole spiel, my whole thing. Joe's gonna pew pew Amazon.
That's it. That's all I know. I'm gonna use a bow.
And Brad, what about you?
So
what's today's?
I still think the option for me is to go with the barbarian and do essentially. Well, I'm gonna do double swing for the beginning because it's pretty much the only decent skill for a barbarian early game.
Mm-hmm.
And my main thing I just want to focus on because realistically the skills don't even matter early on for a barbarian because he just sucks until later on. And even later on he sucks too, honestly. But the thing is he has the battle orders in order to buff up our health and mana so we can use more skills and be able to tank more damage. But also the find item skill, which I think
cheating to me.
So all it does is you could pop the corpses. So you would usually use them on the unique or champion packs, and you just increase the chances of finding more items for us because we already have a tough group. I feel like we have a tougher group. Yes.
Wrong.
If I ran a sorceress, as I've said numerous times, the game would be on easy mode because all you need is one sorceress. You use static field. It's broken.
I will not allow you to use a sorceress.
Yeah, I don't want to. And
so for the listeners out there, I just want you to know that in our DMs, our direct message group, Brad hits us up twice a day. He's like, I think I'm gonna go this, and he'll change up his plan, and he'll send us screenshots and videos and walkthroughs. He's like, this is why, and we're like, that's great, Brad. I really hope you go with. I really hope you go with what you feel, and wherever your heart is, we really just want you to have a good time. He's like, yeah, but for the group dynamics and this and that, and we're like, I don't know.
Just in case Joe gets bored.
No, I'm telling you right now, I think you underestimate the speed at which we're gonna move if we play as a barbarian.
Overestimate the speed that we're moving.
I think we are exactly underestimating because we are ignorant of the game.
Yes,
which is fine.
Here's the question, Joe. How much of Diablo 1 have you played?
I've beat Diablo 1.
You beat Diablo 1. Okay. And then Diablo 3. So
I beat Diablo 3.
Between the two of them, okay, what speed felt better?
Well, the third one felt smoother to play, if that's what you're asking, but I like the pacing of the first one better.
Okay, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I don't want fast. Like, I want to sit and savor.
Yes. Because
and you were worried about like us progressing. Me and Bravo are gonna kill every enemy in that game by the time we finish.
So
every random spawn will die.
The problem, the thing I'm afraid of, it's because like we were talking about before, the attention span of today's day and age, right? Everybody wants things to blow up like a mobile game where you click one button and boom, the entire world explodes, right? So sometimes I'm like, I don't know how people are gonna feel about it because it is a cool game.
Ever insult my intelligence like that again?
You listen, sir. We all know you only play mobile games. Legends is a mobile game.
Technically
don't
true.
Ever.
Technically. But anyways, yeah, I changed my mind a lot because I think there's just so many options that are, I think, a fun build, right? Like,
yeah, I'm giving you crap, but it's just fun to listen to you get excited about the game.
Yeah, it's
he'll probably leave and come back the next day like a completely different character, but the exact same level as us, And we're like, "What's going on, Brad?" I started a new character last night, so I could come play with you guys with this one because it seems better.
Hey, Brad, we stopped playing at 6 in the morning. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I
Meanwhile,
haven't
we're all
slept
back on at 8.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so the loose plan right now is to stream and or record us playing as a squad and upload all that to the YouTube and have a good time with it.
So
Yeah.
what's kind of funny is my manager actually came into work today, and she was like, "Hey, could you do some overtime Friday?" And I looked at her and I went, "No." And she's like, "Do you have something going on?" And yes, I have prior plans, a dentist appointment.
Yes.
All
exactly.
day.
She's
8
like,
roots.
she even said, she was like, "Is that gonna take all day?" I was like, I'm gonna get teeth pulled."
That's a commitment
So-
now because you got to go into work on Monday and
Like,
I'm missing at least a tooth.
Yeah. Well, I'll just pop like the fake half of my front one off and just be like, "Yeah, they just cut it in half because
They messed up. I got to go back again. So yeah, we're hoping that this works out because I might be moving that exact day. The day that this comes out might be when I'm exactly moving, which is exciting, obviously, be moving into a new place, but also makes me just a tiny bit upset because this is the game I'm literally the most excited about, and like 2 months in advance we planned this out and we all like took the days off. So
Yeah, and approximately a month and a half ago, you were like, "I can feel it. This is probably gonna land on the day. Like something's gonna happen."
I'm still convinced to this day that Brad had known this was going to happen the whole time, and it's just like, well, we're just going to let the boys tag along. Think they're going to get to play some Diablo with me. I'm going to tell them I'm moving and play through the entire game myself.
I'm hoping because if it doesn't happen, like if we're able to push it back, then I'm talking full on. We're just steaming through, playing through all day. I got no other reason to not play it. I'm just gonna be sitting here. I might not have anything behind me, but let me tell you, the computer will be hooked up.
Okay, so as far as the game goes, me not knowing anything about the first Diablo, is that going to affect the story at all?
Okay. So the story of Diablo 1 is very minimalistic, honestly. The only real thing that you'll miss, and it's literally like a sentence, is at the end of Diablo 1, the main character of the game just shoves a soul stone that contains
Right up
Diablo's soul into his forehead.
right up his butt.
Into his
Yeah,
forehead, sir.
Yes. So basically,
And that's the Wanderer.
yes,
Or
the Dark Wanderer.
Yeah. And then the opening scene of D2, he walks into that tavern or bar or brothel, whatever. And like he's like fighting what looks like demons off, and then the old man follows him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole story? I know it.
Yeah, so
Yes,
all right.
yes.
There's a little bit more. I mean, it's a very summarized version.
Well, let's
but
get technical.
Let's back it up a tiny bit. Okay. I'll dive in, I guess, a bit into the creation of it, right? So it was made by primarily these three guys. David Brevik is the, I guess, main, like he's like the father of Diablo, right? So David Brevik created the idea, Diablo. He wrote it down, and you can actually look it up online. He has it like printed out, and you can read all of the notes that he created for the game right online. And the reason why he came up with the name Diablo was because when he grew up as a kid, he lived next to a mountain called Mount Diablo, and he just thought it was a cool name. That's literally the only reason why.
So is So did the demon, the creature Diablo come out after that? Like he's like, this is the title that I want. How do I fit this title?
So yeah, so what happened was he thought the name Diablo was cool, and when he found out that Diablo means devil in Spanish, he was like, "Oh, I can make something around this." And it kind of just stemmed across. Like he didn't have a game created at the time. He just knew that that's what he wanted to name a game was Diablo because he just thought it was a cool name.
That's pretty
And
cool.
initially, when he created it, right? So he, so they had a studio. So actually, Max and Eric Schaefer, they were guys that worked with David Brevik at a company, and they like mainly did they did those God, remember back in the day they had those like like those like little clips, like the clip art crap. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So yeah, like clip art was a thing. So they worked for a company creating clip art, essentially. And they found out that they had this, love, and they wanted to create a game studio. So they went and they made a studio. I don't remember the name of the actual studio they made, but
I
they
thought
created
you were a
this.
true fan.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that studio.
I'm convinced Brad is just making this all up as he goes
Yeah.
and
I
been
am,
taking
totally.
notes off of me.
Totally. So they formed the studio, and what they did before they could fund the game Diablo, they were trying to get money by doing the games that they can do contracts for, right? So they would do sports games primarily, like football stuff, and then they actually signed up and they ended up doing Justice League Task Force on the Sega Genesis. So they ended up going to a convention, and they found out that there was another company making Justice League Task Force on the Super Nintendo. And they looked at it and they were both almost identical. And the other company was Condor. And when they ended up talking to each other, so it was Mike Mordheim, who is or was the CEO of Blizzard. And they ended up talking. And beforehand, they kept bringing all they were bringing Diablo to all these companies. Got turned down. Ended up talking to them because they wanted to share notes and see.
And they got turned on. I like where you're going with this.
So Justice League Task Force comes around. They're talking to them about it, and they're like, "Hey, we want to create a PC game. And if once we create it, afterwards, maybe we'll look at your game and we can help fund it or help you out because." David Brevik mainly wanted to make it a PC game. So the game that they were going to create was World of Warcraft. So they ended up making World of Warcraft. And then, lo and behold, Diablo comes about. They signed it. It was almost no money. I mean, I think they got paid like $25,000 to make Diablo 1. It was like some stupid amount of money that cost them. It cost them money. Like,
yeah,
it was ridiculous. So they made Diablo 1. Originally, they wanted it to be like turn-based. And at one point, it was claymation, which is kind of funny.
Wow.
So they had like this claymation stuff to it. It didn't last very long. And basically, Blizzard came to them and they were like, hey, listen, we know you're doing like turn-based, but we think it would work out to make it real-time action game. So he basically he goes, all right, listen, I'm going to need a lot of time to figure this out. Well, David Brevik said, like, it took him like 2 hours to make this thing go from turn-based to real time. And it basically, as soon as he went over and smacked one skeleton, he's like, we've got something here. Long story short.
Wow.
You guys might be onto something.
Yeah. Long story short, after that happens, they end up, they released Diablo 1, and it was commercial acclaim, huge hit. And also it was the first game that had multiplayer attached to it too, and they were told to put multiplayer into the game like 2 months before release.
Wow.
They were like, listen, we're going to try this Battle.net thing. This is going to be the first game to utilize it. And go.
So
didn't go well.
So whenever I think like low budget passion game, I think claymation?
I think
can-
Stardew Valley.
How can I make this even harder on myself so I know it won't work? Claymation. That's exactly what I would do.
So the weird thing about it is, so as you know, Blizzard North was the team that made Diablo. They're like the guys that made it, and then
As you know, Joe.
regular Blizzard was the ones that made like World of Warcraft and whatnot, the main headquarters. So the funny thing is, they made the cinematics, and they did it without anybody knowing. So they had no idea what the cinematics were going to be until they received them, and that is basically what happened with that ending scene when you kill Diablo, and he takes the soul stone out of him, and he shoves it into his own head. And they were like, I don't like it. Like that.
Now we're supposed to make another one? What?
So their reasoning behind it was they wanted to have a loop of why you'd keep playing it, right?
That
So
makes sense.
basically, you kill Diablo. Well, when you start a new game, why is there another Diablo with the character? It's because another Diablo was formed, and it was the last character you played. That's essentially what their thought process, I guess, would be.
Whoa,
right?
mind blown.
Yeah, not really too crazy. But then they move into Diablo 2, and they basically start instantly.
Don't spoil.
I'm not going to talk about story stuff. So when they just decided to make it bigger and more wild, right? There's a couple things that I wish that they actually did, because there was a lot of stuff they ended up cutting. So Act 4 was going to be larger, and on top of that, so basically Act 5 in the game, which is the expansion, was going to be Act 4 or something like that. They were going to add more quests and kind of combine the two together, but they didn't have time, so they cut it down. And so it would have been nice to see that. And then the other thing too is they had this mechanic where you were going to pick up body parts as you would kill enemies. So it'd be just guts and different organs and bones laying around. I don't know. They didn't say what the reasoning was. I think it was for crafting, but they said it was disgusting. Some people did, because you'd just be your inventory would just be filled with just gore. And they decided to take it out, and I guess it was a huge thing in the company of, people were putting up signs on their cubicles and doors saying, bring the guts back and
Yeah.
the body parts.
Hello.
So it would have been interesting to just see what that would have, done in the game. And the really big thing that I think would have shaped the game even more is they were going to add a guild, basically like a guild house and guild town, into the game itself. So you could share loot with your friends. You'd have this little town area, and you can hang out with your friends in the area and trade with them, and do a little bit of everything. But they ended up not doing that because of the time crunch. Just some kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that would have done anything too crazy to change anything. So it'd have been cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just that it was a step, they were thinking ahead of the game, because this is obviously before World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft, I feel started the whole guilds. So it just would have been kind of interesting in general.
So on that note, with things that they wanted to add but couldn't because of time crunches and whatnot, do you see? And I know the original team, the original group is dispersed. They've gone different companies, whatnot.
Mm.
Do you think that D2 will ever get some expansions or other patches, improvements, things like that after it resurrects?
So I think that the chance that you have a patch is high. I think a expansion is low, honestly. And that's just because I don't know if this team even wants to do that. Like I think that they were like given a task and they just want to do it as true to form as possible, you know? Like they've always stated like we want to put some quality of life changes in the game, but they don't want to take away what makes it Diablo. And I don't know. I feel like it's just tough to go and create another expansion just out of
Yeah.
thin air.
Also,
But
they have to continue the story, so they couldn't make any changes that alter.
that is one thing that's interesting. There is an expansion that was planned with another class that was cut. So I
Ooh.
don't know if there's docs about it, but if they had the documents, I guess technically they could
Those are
attempt to recreate it.
yeah. Adding new classes is a way to expand upon like the gameplay, but not change the story. Because then you just you have different class, maybe you got different weapons, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Give people a reason to come back to it. What does Brad think about adding expansions? You've told us this off camera, but I would really like for you to publicly talk about your solution for new versus old gameplay.
Yeah. So to me, I think it's tough because would I like to see it? Yes. Because I think having just more content in general of Diablo 2 to make me play something new would be nice. But I'm also at the same time very fearful that they'll mess it up. So my solution in my head is so in the game you have the option to play like we'll just use hardcore for example. All you have to do when you create a character is when you click on your class. So let's say Bravo starts up the druid and he clicks on the class, he enters the name underneath there. It'll say, do you want to play? Like there'll be a checkbox for hardcore. All you do is check that box and boom, you're done. So that's a way you can implement a new game, like a new expansion or a new patch that balances the game that might make some hardcore fanboys upset, I guess. Like if you were to take and change whatever, maybe you're going to balance some of the weapons, right? And make it to where it's not as hard to run with these melee builds, right? And you were actually to bump them up a bit or whatever. Some people might be against it because you're taking away how the game feels. It's easier or whatever.
Yeah, and I like it. It's a simple solution, and you could have separate leaderboards where it's like, you if you're playing like Legacy, Classic, Old School D2, you've got your own leaderboard. But if you've got like the new D2, it's leaderboard asterisk or the new leaderboard. Completely satisfy both groups of people.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think the chance that they put out a new patch for the game is, I think, extremely high because I can just see them patching some things and being like, look, it's official now. And they could patch the base game, like classic Diablo 2, and technically, I mean, it's the old game, right? Like,
yeah,
the version we're on right now is like 1.14, and it's not that old. I mean, that patch came out probably 5 years ago.
Wow.
Or something like that. I'm taking a wild guess, but it's not like it came out 18 years ago.
Right.
It was
It's
somewhat recent.
relative. Yeah. By the way, what is the final decision that they made for multiplayer? Because they took away the peer-to-peer.
So
Or they took something
the
away.
problem, yes, they took away the TCP/IP
That's
version of the game, and that was called Open BattleNet. So Open BattleNet was a way where if you wanted to utilize modded items or kind of play the game however you wanted to and host it yourself, you could do that. Problem with that is people were using that to bypass some of their security issues, which is how you ended up getting some of these hacked, duped items. And that's a security issue. So originally they wanted to have that, and now they're not really able to. They've had to kind of take a couple steps backwards from being like, hey, we're gonna have full mod support from the old games. Like, yes, it might take a little bit of work, but you can get your mods to work on here. So now they basically want you to do mods that are like text editors only. They don't want you to actually be editing anything too deep. So it's actually going to hurt, I think, a little bit, because some people are. I mean, if you go play some of these mods, they're massive. Like, it's kind of surprising. Is there anything that comes to your guys' head for this game that interests you? I guess that, like, maybe seeing it from a game that's old and now it's being resurrected, right? Is that something like? Does this seem like, oh, it's just an old game with new code of paint, or does it seem like something that actually could bring in new players such as yourselves who haven't played this game?
Oh, I think it's definitely going to bring in a handful of new players. I don't think this game. I don't think this game will do great, sales wise, because most of the people who are going to be playing it or interested in it are going to be the older players, like the ones who played it back in the day that are coming back to play it again. And there's also going to be those people like my dad played all the Diablo games, and I asked him if he was interested in this, and he goes, "Why would I play a game I beat 20 years ago?"
Yep.
There's going to be some of those, and I feel like it'll even out.
I actually really agree with that too. I think that it's weird because I don't see many new people that would want to play this.
No, it's definitely a very like limited game. Like, there's nothing mechanically crazy about it. You play Diablo because you like Diablo. Like, I don't know. I feel like even the Diablo clones nowadays have more mechanical aspects to them, like Path of Exile, Grim Dawn. They have so much going on that, like, I, as a old school Diablo player, can't keep up with. It's too much for me without investing time to learn that I don't care to. Whereas Diablo is just kind of that mindless game to me. Obviously there's builds and build paths and all that, but I don't do that. I just go in and do what I want to do and make it work, or I just wipe it and start over.
Yeah. So, and what that is to me, and there's absolutely nothing. 'Cause it's kind of like Borderlands for me, right? I am not going to play Borderlands through a second time to try out another class. Like, I'm going to finish the one class I play, and hey, I enjoyed it, went through it, I did what I had to do, boom, done. I'm on to the next game, and it almost has to catch you. Like, and I guess there's a chance, the likelihood of it, I think, capturing you guys to where you're like, oh, I'm playing this now for the next 2 years nonstop is pretty unlikely. But like,
well, you don't have to get somebody to play for the next 2 years. You just got to get them to buy the game. And on that note, their price point for the game is what I would say is a very good benefit towards the
I'd say
sales.
It's definitely a fair price.
Yeah. It's what I think. Like, if you were to ask me, like, somebody, revamp, add a new coat of paint, aka upgrade the graphics to D2, how much do you think it'd be? You'd be like $30-$40. They easily could have went the extra mile and reached for a $60 price point, and people like Brad would buy it. But instead, they did $40, and they get people like Joe and I who are like, okay, we can do this. We got buddies that are gonna play this. It's gonna be great.
Here's a question I have for you guys. If it wasn't for me, would you buy this?
I personally would, because I've been waiting for a remaster of D2 to play it. I probably wouldn't play it beyond just the normal difficulty with just a class that I wanted just one time through. But it's something that I've wanted since D3, just to get the older story, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I hate the graphics of the old game. I just don't like it. So I'm glad.
Yep, they're terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad they finally did what I wanted them to.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I would not be buying it on release. I wholeheartedly would probably wait till it dropped down to $20 in like 3 or 4 years. I picked it up then and played through it once, just like Bravo said. One class, be like, oh, who am I feeling like playing today? Or I'd say Barbarian is what I think of when I think of Diablo. So I'm playing as that, and that's it. That's basically what I did with Diablo 3. I said, which one has pew pew? Oh, Demon Hunter? Yep, that's what we're playing. Played through it, never touched it again. Actually, I did touch it again once with Brad, and it was about 20 minutes, and then that was it.
Yep, because that game is oof. It's tough to play.
Realistically, I'm wholly riding this game just due to the fact that, in the group, we're mutually all excited to play together. And just like I said, if Bravo's favorite game got remastered and re-released, which is Civ Call to Power, and Bravo was like, "Oh, Civ Call to Power remaster," I'd be like, "Hell yeah, Civ Call to Power remaster! I'm so excited." Meanwhile, I'd be sitting here like, I don't have any idea. It's not Civ 7. I don't care. But
Dude, I would be
I'd definitely
so
be excited to
freaking.
play it. And I feel like it'd be the same like if a new Ocarina of Time got a remastered. You guys would be on the train too, because I wouldn't give you an option not to be.
It's like anything else. I think just having a game that's a classic, because even if people aren't a fan of it, they never played a Diablo thing, they know the name, right? Like people just know what Diablo is because it really did help create a lot of the stuff that we enjoy today. It's like pretty much one of the first games that made loot a big thing in a game. So to me, if any game that's on people's like top 50 games of all time was remastered, I think everybody would be excited about it, even if it's something you didn't enjoy. Like, it's not like you're like, oh, who cares if they remade Smurfs Racing on PS1?
I would care first.
I care. Some people might not care.
Don't go belittling my girl Smurfette.
Smurfette, oof.
When did Diablo 2 first come out?
99.
Yeah.
1999. And the expansion came out in 2001. So, also, I think you guys know this just because of me, but I think it's odd they released Diablo 1 as a PlayStation 1 game. It had it had a console release on PlayStation 1. And it's funny because I actually had this as a kid. And it like didn't click with me like later on in life that was the first game of Diablo 2 that I was so like obsessed with until like later on. But it was I don't even know if it was made in house by Blizzard or when it was made. I've done zero research on Diablo 1 on PS1. But I just think it's weird. And then they skipped Diablo 2 having a console, and now they have Diablo 3 that's come out on like every console. And now they're going back and it's like, hey, look, now you got a way to actually play this on console. It's kind of cool. I'm happy about it. So I'm actually probably going to pick up a PS4 version, or I don't know if there's a PS5 one. But I'm primarily going to play this on PC, but I just want to have a copy of it physically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to primarily play it on the Steam Deck.
There you go.
There you go.
Is Diablo 2 coming to Switch?
It is. So they've announced that it's going to be a little bit lesser than the other ones. So it's going to have only 4-player co-op instead of the 8.
I actually will probably get it for the Switch.
So
I do think it's awesome for the Switch. Go ahead, Bravo.
I think I will be getting it for the Switch as well. I have D3 for the Switch, but it's like meh, you know. But
it's because it's D3.
Yeah. So I feel like getting it for the Switch because I pretty much only play my Switch when I'm traveling. So having D2 to just like kind of mindlessly grind in a hotel room somewhere would be pretty cool.
And the neat thing too, from what I understand, is you could play the character that we play all together, and you could play on your Switch also.
That is pretty huge.
Yeah. So
having
all your stuff transfers.
Like we could play together with him on the Switch, or no?
Yep. From what I know, everybody can play with everybody, and your characters transfer from PC to the Switch to PS4.
Dude, crossplay is such a. I love the fact that crossplay is becoming like a standard thing.
Mhm. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
I don't like so obviously I don't think single player will work that way because it's not syncing up to the servers,
Hmm.
which I think that makes sense. But still, that's pretty
Then
awesome.
you just go the route of making like an online lobby and putting a password on and not telling anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So
And
I'm looking at the trends for Diablo 2 searches on the internet,
Mhm.
and they're really close to peaking right now, where it's estimated to be about 90% tomorrow of its all-time peak since it was announced. So, the hype is definitely building for this thing. But guess what countries have the most interest in this game?
I'm gonna guess like Middle East is gonna have at least a representative.
I have no idea.
No? Okay, number 1, Sweden.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's peaking 100%. Like it is the leading trending country. Then you have Denmark, it's like okay, Canada, Austria, United States.
It's actually kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, huh?
I'm excited to see what. One, I'm actually very excited to see the new acts and stuff, and I encourage everybody out there. I encourage you, go and just make whatever you want. Don't follow the stupid cookie cutter builds. Do what Joe's doing. Do what Bravo's doing. Have a plan.
Well, hold on.
Hold on.
Bravo's built
I-
himself his own cookie cutter.
Mine's with an asterisk because I told Brad I went to an expert and I said I want to be a werewolf, and Brad shares his screen and he's like, okay, you want to build these skills, and he shows me the skills, and I took a screenshot, and that's my whole build.
Yes.
And then there's
But
Brad
that's-
trying to be like, Joe, you should do. And no, shut up.
No.
So what I told Bravo though is not because the werewolf druid is not the most popular druid. It's fine to play it.
You just said that I should go play what I want to play.
No, I did tell you that.
No, he didn't tell you that. He told you to play what you want to play.
That's what I want to play.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything that I just said?
Not to follow cookie cutter builds, and then you give him a cookie cutter build.
That's not a cookie cutter build.
But it is. He has a screenshot of it, and he says this many points into this.
No,
this
a
many
cookie
points
cutter
into
build
this.
means you go in and you play the Blizzard sorceress, you play the Hammerden, you play a Lightning Sword, you play the stuff that everybody plays in the game.
I don't know. it says
Barely
cookie
anybody
cutter.
plays a druid.
Barely anybody has
really?
a cookie cutter that's a Triforce, but I do.
Well, the only druid that people play are like the Tornado Hurricane Druid.
Heck
That's
yeah.
what people play. So if like
How
werewolf,
popular is what I'm playing?
a boson, not that popular.
I want to play the least popular class and build.
Probably Fisticuffs Barb.
Yeah, well that's
Actually, probably
None-
Fisticuffs Amazon.
Mr.
I'm
Llama.
gonna play
Well,
Fisticuff Sorceress.
Mr. Llama went through and he was talking about how it's pretty much possible with most characters, and he said I think he said the most difficult would be a fist druid.
Whoa.
Yeah,
What if my fists were claws in the form of a werewolf?
yeah.
Does that count?
I don't know if that would. I don't know if he would count that. I think
Yeah.
I think you could use that.
I'm pretty much a
Because-
hardcore gamer, just going with the
He was
hardest
using a
build.
skill. He was going with a skill. It's just that he just didn't use a weapon. So yeah.
Oh.
his whole way of getting through that was through mechanics of the game. That's why. It's insane how he did it. And the fact that he did it that quick too. I mean, he did it in like 4 days. He beat it with a fist only barb. It's insane. But I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. I don't even know what else to say about this stuff. Like I want people to actually enjoy the experience though. Like whenever I see anybody post stuff, I'm like, take your time through the game. Like you only get to experience the remaster one time. So if you rush through and you're like, you get from Act 1 normal to Act 5 hell instantly. I feel like you're spoiling yourself the experience because one, there is no ladder at the start of the game. So you're not really benefiting anything from it. It's not like you're like, oh, look at me. I'm the first person to, I'm on the top of the leaderboard.
Oh, the ladder is the leaderboard. Okay.
Yeah, the leaderboard. So,
yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like, just until the ladder comes out, like, take your sweet time. Look at the garlic cloves.
Yeah. We're going to go find all the garlic cloves.
All the garlic cloves.
Every single one of them.
And, yeah, I'm actually excited to do kind of what we've been talking about. Just, like, go into all the side areas. Check everything out. We're going to literally bash our head against a wall in Act 3 because it's a maze. And I always do. I can't stand Act 3. But
I'm gonna make sure I read every line of dialogue in Act 3.
You don't have to read every dialogue. They read it to you.
Yeah. I'm gonna read it extra slow to keep Brad there even longer.
He's gonna read it over the top of their voice.
Oh my god!
And I'm gonna try to do the opposite of their voice. So if it's real deep, I'm gonna do real high pitch.
Give me a sample. Give me a sample.
You give me a real deep voice.
My voice is a deep voice.
Yeah.
My voice is a deep voice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we've got like 8+ people in the community who are going to be playing this game, and Brad's got like 30 people he's going to have separate characters with all of them.
I am so upset. Like, I don't want to say this because especially I don't want my wife to.
Hold on. You're gonna put this out in the public now. Think about it. Think about it.
Think about it. Now say it.
I just wish this game was releasing now either a month prior or a month in advance. Like it's coming out like September 23rd. Kind of wish it was October 23rd now.
No.
Well, because then October 3rd we have plans, so
we got big plans. But October 23rd, if it came out, I would be all settled in the house, and I would be able to do whatever I wanted.
I also agree. I wish it came out a month later. That way, I could play the game that really matters. That comes out this week, Kana.
Isn't there something else that's coming out October 23rd too? That like just randomly dropped. Oh, it's like some Lord of the Rings game that nobody's gonna care about.
Well, wrong, but I didn't tell you yet, Brad, but I've told Bravo and Sushi I am more excited for Kana than I am Diablo. And I just want to say that to hurt you.
He doesn't know what to do. He's frozen.
He's broken.
Oh no, he's having a stroke.
EXE has stopped working.
EXE.
On that note.
On that note, gang,
we're looking for a new member for the podcast. If anybody is down, probably it might be Sushi. Just to let you guys know.
we gotta cut the podcast and have a little argument in the chat.
Me and Brad are gonna go round 7 here.
Yeah.
All right, gang. That was a good episode. I hope you're just as excited about D2 as we are. Brad, do you have any last words for Diablo 2 Resurrected?
2 things. 1, Joe's wrong. 2, the composer, Matt Ullman, is phenomenal. The music in this game is some of my favorite of all time. And I wanted to put it in our, whatever. I don't know if we were considering actually our top 5 or just some soundtracks we enjoyed. But the Diablo 2 soundtrack is really memorable to me. Like I have a lot of memories to it. So when I hear the stuff, it just like transports me back. So I really encourage you to not turn the music off.
I am muting it immediately.
I will.
I do every other game. Every other game.
No, you're turning the music on full blast.
No, Joe's gonna be playing his K-pop like normal. And
you play K-pop over this classic music, I swear to God.
We're gonna be slaying Diablo, and he's gonna
What was that song from the Borderlands trailer?
Chocolate, my baby metal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what's gonna. I imagine that's what's gonna be playing.
Dude, I have no problem ripping tear into some baby metal.
Yeah, dude.
It just makes it that much
Actually,
more fun.
baby metal kind of fits. You know,
It's
you're fighting
that
Diablo.
song was perfect for it.
It. I'm serious though. Even if you just listen to a bit of it, like, and then you turn, like, just you got to get a little of it.
I get the little
And-
menu bit that I get while I click options and drag that slider all the way to zero.
Nope. So they did a really good job with it. I feel they did. Then as I said, I also have the rose tinted glasses. I am curious to get your honest opinions. Like I don't care if you're like, oh, I hated the game. Like I want you to be honest, because it doesn't matter, because I'm still gonna be playing the crap out of it. You're never gonna see me on another game, at least for another year. So like I said, I do wanna hear honest opinions. So hopefully, in maybe a few episodes, we'll be able to give our opinions and like, hey, this is how we're feeling.
Oh, we will. Even if it's a special episode where we just review Diablo, it'll be a good time.
I wholeheartedly expect to get through all 3 difficulties at least a single time before I make a judgment.
Heck yeah.
I hope we can get through the three.
We
difficulties.
will, Brad. Stop worrying so much, bro.
I almost threw up saying that. That's how nervous I am.
When Brad sees me get like our first
Oh.
legendary or unique, whatever they call them in this game, drop, and I
Mhm.
get the best weapon, and I'm running around with it the entire game, and Brad's like, no, you're gonna do bad early, and then you're gonna get gear, and then it's gonna be the first one that drops. I'm calling it now, and I'm just gonna be like, I am God.
So you want me to crush your dreams instantly?
No,
It's-
because
No,
I don't
no.
want to know anything.
it's not possible
No.
to have the best. To have the best.
There's
item
gonna be a
drop.
bug.
If there's a,
It's
if
a new
there's a bug,
release.
yeah. If there's a bug, there's a chance.
A bug that just every item that drops is the best item in the game.
But only for my character. Everything that Brad gets, everything Brad
that
gets is
would-
gonna suck.
This is gonna be first it's shared loot. So
it doesn't matter, but we're gonna
prepare
give
for
you the
that.
bad stuff.
It's gonna be hilarious though, because obviously if stuff drops for like Joe specifically, like we're gonna obviously give it to him. And I kind of hope that Joe gets it all, because Joe needs to pretty much be our DPS. And based on how we're gonna end up playing it, unless I go with something else. But
See, listeners, this is what we've been dealing with. He's letting his true self shine. He's min-maxing our play styles already.
I'm not min-maxing. I'm just saying if
I'm not
You're
gonna
gonna be
accept
tanky.
anything they give to me.
good.
Brad could be
Well,
like, this is the most important item in the game. Like
Joe's gonna
I'm
be
no.
so upset when he realizes he's
Joe's-
probably gonna be the worst one out of us all.
Joe's
I won't.
whole existence is
You will
fueled.
if you don't build it the correct way, which I won't tell you anything.
His existence is fueled by spite. It's just that's
Like-
how he wakes up in the morning. Just
Yeah, Joe wakes up,
despite
he's
his
like,
alarm, he
"You're-
wakes up.
You're wrong. I know nothing about this game. I've never played it, but you're wrong. I'm gonna question the man that's played 20 years of it. You're totally wrong.
I'm just
But-
telling you, I am going to have a blast, and I don't care if I'm the one always dead. I'm gonna be laughing the whole time.
That I hope that you guys do have fun, because I would love that we can all play this game like a good amount. Like I'm hoping that we could just farm through and do all of the end game content too.
Yeah, 3-4
there's more
hours.
even
It's good.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, even after hell, because technically there is stuff to do afterwards too.
Yeah, like make a new character and start over,
You could do that too.
and make an even worse character. That way, Brad is more worried about me.
Oh, I don't care. I just don't want you to quit halfway through our Let's Play. As long as you can make it through to our Let's Play, I don't care what you do afterwards, because I'll play by myself. You already
Fair
know that.
and balanced.
Brad's trying to get rid of us. That's what he wants, to play by himself.
Yeah, because then I
Mm.
can go at my own pace. I don't gotta have you holding me back, Joe. Bravo, you could tag along with me. Joe, he's trash. I've already seen him play League. I know he's not gonna do well.
I'm gonna delete Bravo's little picture he has of everything to level. That way he has to read it for you, Brad. You know how Bravo likes to read.
Oh man, that's how we got him to have a pre-built idea here.
Bravo's a reader, and not saying it's a bad thing, but he likes to be very
Look at the
informed
word.
about his decisions.
D&D,
I do.
baby.
I do.
And then there's
Alright.
Brad who just like that one.
It's it's gonna be a problem. If you watch the Let's Play, you're gonna see me get frustrated because I'm like reading everything, and Brad and Joe are like half a mile away fighting things, and I'm like, dang it, I'll go.
I have no problem just chilling because I am literally going to be in the town. Bravo and Joe will be reading their gear. I know what to look for. I'm gonna be in the town, zoomed in, and I'm gonna be flipping between classic and the real game. I'm gonna crash the game millions of times, and I'm gonna be looking at like the cow.
It's a
like,
G button, right?
Yeah.
You literally hit the G spot to switch it back and forth. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm going to play the game with a bottle of liquor, and every time Bravo yells at us for running ahead, I'm taking a shot.
I am only gonna play in the game in classic mode. I don't even want to see the new graphics.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got to talk about Brad's decisions. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can yell at us on Twitter at envision_org. Email us at envisiongamingpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what kind of builds you're going to run in the YouTube comments if you plan on playing this game, which, if you're listening to this, it released today. We're obviously recording it beforehand. But I hope you enjoy the game as much as we will, and stop by for the Let's Play. Have a good one.
I love you.